Welcome to Currency Countdown. I'm Ellis Martin. In this segment, I'm joined by the chairman of the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, or GATA, Mr. Bill Murphy. GATA was formed, in Mr. Murphy's words, to, quote, expose the manipulation of the gold and silver markets by a gold cartel consisting of various bullion banks like J.P. Morgan Chase, the Fed, and the U.S. Treasury, etc. He's a well-sought-after speaker and lecturer, and we're pleased to have him here. Bill, welcome to the program.
Great to be here, Alice. Thank you.
Usually when everyone talks about a commodity en masse, and the public becomes aware of it through the media, it's time to get out. Everyone's talking about gold now as it approaches $2,000 an ounce. It's not time to get out of gold, though, is it?
Well, the Gold Antitrust Action Committee and myself, running the Metropole Cafe, have been bullish since $250, $275, and said what the gold price was going to do and silver and why. And even today, while a lot of the big money is finally turning to gold, it's about the farthest thing from a bubble as any market in history. Matter of fact, it's not even remotely close. Almost nobody I know in the United States, the average person, is invested in gold, silver, the shares. If you ask 100 people, you'd be lucky to get one. We're not even close to where it's overdone, in terms of a big picture.
Where's the real danger here to the mostly unsophisticated investing public when they're getting bombarded with advertisements for buying or investing in gold? Isn't there some danger in this?
No, it's just the reverse. I just talked to a buddy, this coin dealer that's been in the business forever. He said he's never seen anything like it. All the public is doing is bringing him gold in carloads. So instead of buying on the premium bubble, the public is getting out. It's just the reverse. The real danger for investors and listeners and stuff like that is not having gold and silver protection. We're going into a hyperinflationary period and can't make any money in real estate. It keeps going down. The interest rates are low or nothing. The Dow hasn't done anything for 10 years, and gold's up 11 years in a row. And still, it's just starting to begin to be talked about. Even now, most people think it's going down.
We're still not at the point where I can walk across the street and use gold coins or bullion to buy a loaf of bread or any groceries. You'd still have to convert back to cash to buy what you need.
Well, it's true, and that's the same thing as what I would do. I use dollars all the time. It's just at some point, what I have is money in gold and silver and the gold-silver shares. Yeah, I'll cash it out and get dollars and do something with it. In the meantime, instead of watching my investments go in the tank, they're moving up nicely.
So anytime you need cash, you just convert that continually rising gold investment to cash and spend it accordingly.
Yeah, there's a danger sometime down the road things can get totally out of hand, but for the moment, I don't see any reason to change. And as I say, if I need some money, at some point I'll sell some gold. But right now I'm looking to buy more of it, especially the shares, which are so undervalued.
I recently read a warning put out by FINRA, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, warning investors to beware of investing in gold stocks.
Well, that's just silly talk, in my opinion, just ridiculous. You always got to be wary and the buyer beware and need to know the management and what the companies are about. But boy, there's so many great gold, silver companies out there. A lot of these companies haven't done anything 3, 4, 5 years. People have invested in them and even lost money. It's a total dichotomy, disconnect. Could be several reasons for it. But it's going to change, and when it does, that's when the real mania kicks in, when the public gets involved, and these gold and silver shares will go up minimum 1,000%, most of them anyway.
In your opinion, that's the reason for the disparity between the price of gold and gold stocks, which is seriously lagging behind bullion.
Well, no, it's some of you. There's algorithm trades, and it could be the gold cartel because they always act suspiciously, and we know that J.P. Morgan borrowed shares from the Oppenheimer Fund, and why would they do that? And it gets complicated. And the bottom line, no matter what is, except for a few exceptions, the gold and silver shares have been horrendous the past 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And they just haven't participated in the gold and silver mode. The psychology is there, whatever some of the reasons I mentioned. But it will change. And how can a market end when the public doesn't even want to invest in it? And that's why I say this is the farthest thing from a bubble in any market in history. It's just getting going.
So you must be very happy about this from a standpoint of being an investor.
Sure. In terms of gold and silver, I'm not too happy with my share performances. But that's going to change. And we've been so right in the market for a decade because we understood the ramifications of the price suppression scheme and what was going to happen. And there's no reason we won't be right about the shares making a boom. It's a tiny little market cap sector, and when the public decides to move and change, they're going to move very quickly. Probably be the momentum traders that will make all the money, not the usual gold silver investors, because they'll just miss the move.
Are you still accumulating? are you averaging down?
Well, in some cases, I hate to say averaging down, but that's actually what I'm doing. It's such a bull market. I'm just staying with it. I don't trade them. I just stay with the thing, and the returns will be staggering. For all the frustration over the past years, it will make that up and double that on the upside when these things really get going.
Do you believe the gold cartel, banks like J.P. Morgan, currently have control over the price of gold?
Well, all along, we've said they're winning battles here and there, but they're losing the war, and what we call it a managed retreat. All they try to do is certain times they keep gains to 2% during the day in gold, and they try to manage excitement, and they hit the shares. But it's a losing war. I mean, every year, they keep shooting themselves in the foot because they're keeping the price too low and don't let it trade freely because they cap it all the time, and then they make these attacks, and it keeps the physical market in strong shape. If they weren't out there doing their thing all the time, you'd have a real blow-off, you'd get sticker shock in the market, and the price would fall naturally. Instead, like we saw months ago in silver and gold when they had a $200 rate in the market. It was just ludicrous with another margin increase, and so they get the price too low again, and demand picks up all over the world.
Now, you mentioned silver, the poor man's gold. Do you believe, as some others do, that the price of silver is commensurate with the supply of silver right now? Has speculative money really jumped into silver? Will there be enough silver?
Well, I don't follow the silver supply-demand stuff like we do in gold, and I'm not a numbers guy to begin with, but I know somebody who is, and that's Eric Sprott. He's the smartest guy I know, and becoming one of the most highly regarded investment people in Canada and around the world, and he believes that silver is going to be an investment of the decade, and we think the situation in silver is far more dire than it is in gold because they can always get some central bank gold even though it's dwindling. But we think the silver market is just so tight, and J.P. Morgan has just been playing with the derivatives market, and it started to blow up, and they had the exchanges come into all these margin increases and wipe out the specs months ago, but that's running its course, and at some point in here, silver is going to blow up. The price is going to go bananas.
I know you're a gold bug, but as the U.S. dollar weakens, are you looking to any foreign currencies at all as to a potential investment, or are we just moving away from fiat altogether?
Not really. They all stink. What strikes me right now is you've had all these turmoil about Europe and Germany and stock market trouble there, and what's happening in the Euro community, and the Greek debt spreads are blowing out, and yet the Euro is not far from its high. And that just tells me how bad the dollar is. And I think sometime this fall you'll have a crash in the dollar because the Euro should be getting killed right now, and instead, as I just mentioned, it's near its highs. Most all the currencies stink. So gold's the name of the game right now.
Can we go back and blame this on Richard Nixon?
Oh, after my experience with Ghana working with the Democrats and Republicans in the U.S., they're all the same. The big money behind it. They all do the same things. Can blame Nixon, blame this person. I'm so frustrated them all, and that's the reason that we're going in the tank, because the politicians, all they do is protect the big banks, and none of them want to do the right thing. The only one's any good out there is Ron Paul.
So you believe Ron Paul would be a good president and turn this thing around?
He'd be a great president, but he'd be hated during his term because he realizes that the only way we can get better is to take our medicine. We're broke, states are broke, government's broke, we're living way beyond our means. Standard of living has to go down about, I've been saying this for years now, 35% or so in the U.S. to rectify a problem. There's no other way out. They're creating more debt to solve the debt problem right now. And they talk about making changes in the federal deficits in 5 and 10 years and back-ending it all. It's just ridiculous. We're in a horrible mess. It's bad, and the American people don't want to hear about it, and so they're going to be forced to hear about it as our markets continue to deteriorate.
It seems that the only economy that will be booming is the economy of gold. Everything else will not.
Well, I can't speak about everything else, but gold and silver have got a long way to go, and we had a conference at Gold Rush 21 in the Yukon, August 2005. Gold is 436, and I pounded the table. It's going to take 3,000 to 5,000 gold to clear the market. That doesn't look so far-fetched now. Said the same thing at our conference we just had in London, Savoy Hotel, 400 people from 38 countries, sold the thing out, pounded the table again. Gold was about 1660 then, and we said it was going to explode, and the next 2 weeks it went up to 1900 before it corrected.
When you look at the 24-hour spot price as it travels around the world time zones, it seems to be regularly pushed down when New York opens, and then pushed up again in Asia. What do you think is behind this, and why is New York going short and Asia going long?
God has done a lot of this, and it's the gold cartel, of course. Plan A, as I call it, is when they report to work in London, 3 a.m. New York time. Plan B is right after the PM fix in London when the physical market pricing is over from the day, so they don't have as much competition to take the price down. And then they have Plan C when they try to attack gold after the COMEX closes in the access market when the trading is a lot less and they can push the market around easier. And they just do the same things over and over again, just like they always attack around an option expiry and usually around a jobs report short 95% of the time. They try to hit the market then too because they try to camouflage how bad the situation has become.
What would you say to the new investor who's listening to this program or listening to you for the very first time about getting educated, getting the facts, and making parlays into winning investments instead of getting involved in something that may or may not work out?
Well, it's an easy one for me, and I know we have a lot of happy campers. I've done a commentary now for 13 years at lemetropolecafe.com, lemetropolecafe.com. Your people can sign up for a 2-week free trial, and they can see if it's of value to them, and then they can make the decisions from there.
Bill Murphy is the chairman of the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, or GATA. GATA's website is gata.org. Bill Murphy's Cyberspace Cafe for the Gold Investor can be found at lemetropolecafe.com. Bill, we certainly do appreciate your spending time with us today. Thanks for joining us on Currency Countdown.
It's my pleasure, and take care.
If you haven't done so, visit our website for continually updated news, opinion, and commentary currently related to currency and more. CurrencyCountdown.com. That's CurrencyCountdown.com. For Currency Countdown, I'm Ellis Martin.